Howdy.
Howdy.
What's going on?
Not much.
Keek, stay up close.
I know. I'm
the mic.
not good at this. So, you're the profesh.
You have. I am the profesh.
You are the profesh.
But you have your own podcast. Do you want to plug the podcast right at the beginning where the most people are listening? Or do you want to talk about it later?
Let's talk about it later. I've been dying to try this.
No, you haven't.
Not really, because
Yeah.
it's Scotch. But I still want to try it, and we'll talk about that after.
Fair. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to another episode of Who Gives a Dram, episode 125, I think. Today, I am joined by my cousin. Her name is Tessa Harrington. Tessa Gilbert Harrington. What's your middle name?
Maureen.
Tessa Maureen Gilbert Harrington?
Sure.
Or Tessa Maureen Harrington?
It's just Tessa Maureen Harrington.
Okay. Is there a reason that you didn't hyphenate the last two? Because I know a lot of ladies do that these days.
I was kind of thinking about it, but that's just like more paperwork. So.
Yeah, true. Part of the reason why I never changed my legal address to this place.
Yeah.
It's always just been my parents' house because the
keep
paperwork.
It that way. Yep.
Well, I was recently told that there's no property tax on vehicles in Rhode Island anymore.
Oh.
And I just got hit for $500 for my truck.
Yep.
So.
Maybe change it.
Might be worth it. Did you get your property tax for your vehicle yet?
No, not yet.
No.
I think it. Yeah. I'm not sure what. Oh, my car is registered and ledgered now because it was in Cromwell.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know.
You have a sick Bronco.
I do have a sick Bronco.
For the people listening.
Get one.
Tessa is my cousin. Tessa, I've talked about Tessa on the podcast before. She is, her dad's was my Uncle Craig, or is my Uncle Craig, was. Husband was John, both of whom have podcasts that I've dedicated to on this show. So Tessa did a great thing and supported our troops and flew down to Kentucky for a few days and attended the Bourbon Ball and met my whiskey people, which we haven't even talked about. I haven't seen you since I got back.
I know. You've been busy.
I've been super busy. Yes. So you might be asking yourself, Connor, if you're watching this on YouTube, which you should be, and if you haven't subscribed on YouTube, you should. You might be asking yourself, why do you have 2 bottles of Scotch in front of you? Well, that's because at the Bourbon Ball, I directed Tessa to bid in the silent auction on either of these bottles, and I think you made the executive decision to bet on both of them, and you won both of them.
Yes.
Can you designate how much money you donated to Folds of Honor between these 2 bottles?
I think it was over 800 because I think
not terrible.
No, it wasn't that bad. Yeah, I think it was 400 for one and like 425 for the other, something like that.
I would say those are pretty good deals.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say over 1,000.
No.
Well, I know there were people bidding on these.
Yeah,
during the night. You had to outbid a few times.
Yeah, a little bit. So.
But today, I wanted to have Tessa here on the podcast, not only because we've been talking about you coming on the podcast, but now it's a great time because we have 2 whiskeys we can drink, and I can walk you through them a little bit. And I actually haven't had these either. So we're going to be drinking this Ardbeg Traigh Bhan, 19-year-old, finished in sherry casks, I think. It's 46.2% alcohol by volume, bottled under a full moon.
Ooh.
Says that on the bottle.
That's something.
It's matured in American oak and Oloroso sherry casks. That's what I thought. And this is a bottle that we got from Ardbeg that was donated for the silent auction. And same thing with this Lagavulin 14yr. This is the commemorate the Isla Jazz Festival last year. This was also picked by the general manager at Lagavulin, who he also, if I'm not mistaken,
he signed it.
The bottle. So
and it comes in a very comfy carrying case.
It sure does.
Yeah, it's fancy.
We'll get rid of this for now. Yeah. So there it is. Yeah, Jordan signed this. He's the general manager over at Lagavulin. Go listen to Bourbon with Friends episodes where we did our trip, our tour of Scotland, and you'll hear us talk about this bottle on the Lagavulin episode and this bottle on the Ardbeg episode. So, Tessa, I've already introduced you. What do you know about whiskey?
Not that much, considering my cousin has a podcast about it.
Well, two of the biggest podcasts.
Yes,
Let's clarify.
two of the biggest podcasts about whiskey.
Right. Thank
the
you.
most amazing ones ever. But I know that they have to be in barrels from Kentucky to be considered whiskey. I think there's something about the barrels. I think.
Yeah, there is something about the barrels, but that's completely wrong.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I know that it tastes good. And during the tasting at the Castle and Key, which was like my favorite, I was told, and this, you might laugh at me with this, but I was told when you have that burning sensation in your chest when you drink whiskey, that's called a Kentucky hug.
Yes.
I like that. That's cute.
It is called the Kentucky hug. You're right.
Yes. That's what I know.
So, well, you might be thinking of a lot of Scotch is aged in used bourbon barrels.
Okay.
For example, I saw a lot of Buffalo Trace barrels when I was over in Scotland. That's what they're aging their product in. Bourbon has to be new oak barrels.
Okay.
They can't have been filled previously, or else it legally cannot be bourbon. So we fill up the bourbon here. We empty the barrels once the bourbon comes of age, and then we ship them off to Ireland and Scotland for the most part. And that's where they age Ardbeg or Lagavulin, or most of the Scotch over there is aged in ex-bourbon barrels. So this Ardbeg, for example, was aged in a American oak barrel, and then they finished it, which means they transported the liquid from the oak barrel to an Oloroso sherry cask, which is like usually pretty big, like really big. Call it a sherry butt sometimes.
Oh, nice. Like a good sherry butt.
I love a good sherry butt. So that might be what you were thinking of.
Yeah, probably.
Regarding the Bourbon Ball.
Yes.
What was your favorite part?
I liked that it was kind of like a weekend event. Like it wasn't just the ball. Like there was the distillery tour, and that was a lot of fun. It was fun hanging out with you guys, all your whiskey folk. They're very cool. I like.
Do you mean that, or are you just saying that?
I absolutely mean that.
Yeah.
Yeah. If they weren't cool, I wouldn't call them whiskey folk or give them a weird name. But no, they're absolutely. That was a lot of fun. It was a good time just hanging out with everybody.
I agree.
I feel like they're similar to my people. Because I brought, for those of you guys that don't know, I brought two of my friends. One who is ex-military pilot, and the other one is married to a military pilot. And we were John Mahuniak, the best number one fan of.
John will definitely listen to this. Shout out to you, John.
Shout out, John. Lost my train of thought. We hung out with the 10th Mountain ladies a lot, which was cool. At the cocktail hour, they were very nice. I like them.
Awesome.
Yep. And
so you liked how it was a weekend thing?
Yeah, I like the weekend things because it's like it's fun to dress up, but it's fun to have like a weekend event. You know, not just one thing, but we can do this and we can do that, and then we can sober up on Sunday for our flight home.
And did you sober up?
No.
You were drunk the whole time?
No, I wasn't drunk the whole time, but I was either hungover, getting over hungover, and then drunk. But it was good.
Did you get over getting hungover by getting drunk?
Yes, kind of. Yep,
Naturally. Hair of the dog
type stuff. So
makes sense.
Yep.
But overall, you said you would think, like, you personally, the weekend was a success.
I think it was a great success. I mean, you guys...
Not for us, but for you.
For me, absolutely. It was a success. I had a great time. I got to wear a lot of cute clothes that I don't normally wear because I'm usually in gym clothes. And it was a lot of fun. And I got, I think, 6 bottles of whiskey.
What do you remember what you got?
I bought...
Besides our barrel picks.
So I got the 10th Mountain Barrel Pick. I got 2 of the 1620.
Oh, you got 2 of them.
They gave it to me. Nice. And I got I bought a Castle and Key bourbon one
At the okay.
at the distillery,
Okay.
which I have since finished.
Really?
Yeah, it was really good.
I've got a few bottles behind me.
Yeah, I like the top.
The bottles are real nice.
Yeah, they're nice bottles.
Yeah, they invest a lot of money in their bottles.
Mm-hmm. You can tell. It's heavy. You can throw it at someone.
Yeah, you can.
You can throw the top at someone if you needed to.
Yeah, well, I have. Well, like, you might be able to hurt somebody, but me, like, I was like really good at baseball, so I could probably kill somebody if I threw it as hard as I could. Because I have really good form. I don't know if you knew that.
I do. I've seen you.
Yeah, I have pretty good form.
I was dragged to your games.
Were you really?
No, I came.
When? You went to my baseball games?
Yeah, I went to your baseball game.
Well, I had multiple games.
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't know which exact ones I went to.
Like high school or when I was a little kid?
High school. I went to your little kid ones too. They were super boring.
Oh, well, yeah.
But there was I was there right after Dana and Seth got engaged.
Oh, wow. That was a long time ago.
And
Holy
I was
moly.
talking to, I can't remember. Maybe I was talking to Nana.
Shout out Nana.
I think, or maybe I was talking to Linda. I can't remember. I was talking to somebody, and I was like, "Oh, and I thought for some reason, because like on my Facebook feed at that time, like people are either getting engaged or getting pregnant, and I thought Dana was pregnant, and I was like, I'm so excited that Dana's pregnant. Like that's great for you guys. And I'm like, what?
Oh yeah, I remember that story.
Yep,
I remember that story.
So.
Shout out Nana. Shout out Linda. Shout out Dana.
And Seth.
And Seth. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Seth and Seth.
But yeah, no, I think that was either at yours or Kale's baseball game.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So, but like you admit I was pretty good though. I was like really good.
Sure, you were great. One of the best.
Some say the best to ever come out of Greenhaven Road in Stonington.
I would agree.
Where I grew up.
Yep.
Some say the
Kale
best.
can't throw for shit, so.
Yeah. No, Kale was interesting. Kale, do you remember, not to get off topic, but do you remember when Kale was disgusting to look at? His disgusting phase, like pre-braces and braces and like just thin, mangled hair and like skinny fat and just always had blue lips.
Yes.
Gross, right?
Yeah, he was always gross.
And he's okay now.
He's better.
And he always had long fingernails with dirt in them.
I don't remember it. I don't remember it to that detail, but yeah. I remember he had a rough face. He had a little bit of a glow up.
Yeah, I guess comparatively, to what it was. Yeah,
he could be better.
He could be.
He could be better.
Say that into the camera.
Said, Kale, you can be better.
Yeah, Kale.
# cancel Kale.
Exactly. So let's open up some of this whiskey. Do you want to do the Lagavulin first, or do you want to do the Ardbeg first?
Let's do the Ardbeg first.
Okay, I'm just gonna see which one is higher proof. This is 55.4%.
So what's
that's
the rule?
over 100
Should we do that?
No, we should do this one first.
Okay.
That one, you haven't even opened it. Wow.
No.
I'm surprised. All right, let's open this. Very nice. All right. I'm going to do...
It's like you listen for the squeak. Is that a good squeak?
It was okay, yeah. I opened this. So this bottle has already been opened. I opened it for my very good friend, Graham Robertson, who was at the Bourbon Ball. He was a Scotch guy there in the kilt.
Oh, he was awesome.
And he stayed at Paul's house with myself and Paul and Liz for like 5 days or something like that. And the night before he left, I opened this. I haven't had this yet. I opened it for him to have because I figured he probably would never drink this again. And he said he thoroughly enjoyed it. So,
good.
Shout out to Graham.
And his wife, because his wife was teaching
Tracy.
us a dance at the bar.
She was what?
She taught us like a little jig or something at the bar, like a little dance that they did.
Jig?
A little jig. I feel like it's Irish line dancing is a jig. I don't know.
Well, they're from Scotland, so.
Scotland, yeah.
So
I'm not good on my facts today.
So you know how to Scottish line dance?
A little. No, I don't. I mean, I was very drunk when I was doing it, but she tried.
You were drunk Friday night.
Yes.
At the bar when we went out. You were pretty hammered.
Yeah, because I was like.
You had a few drinky poos.
Because I had a drink at lunch because I was on vacation, and then we had the tasting at the distillery, And then we had drinks at the distillery. And then you're like, let's go out at 10. And I'm like, holy Christmas, we're going out at 10. And we went out at 10. And I had a couple people who had bought me drinks. And then I was done.
Yeah. And then the next day was the ball.
And the next day was the ball.
Yeah.
But it was good.
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad you had a good time.
Yeah. I normally don't drink that much. But
I mean, when you and I are together, we're usually like...
I usually have like a couple.
Yeah. A couple glasses of whiskey.
Yes.
We're not talking like a couple like little... No, we're talking like I bring over a bottle of whiskey or we drink the whiskey that's already there.
Yeah.
And like a quarter of it is gone by a quarter. There's a quarter less there by the time we're done.
I feel like I can drink whiskey very well, and I don't know if that makes sense. Like I feel like genetically, for whatever reason, I do well with whiskey and I do well with red wine. Other things I do not do well with, but that's why I can drink those. But I'm usually
like those bullshit.
Long drinks?
No, not long drinks. So those are bullshit too. But the bullshit kombucha.
Oh, the hard kombuchas?
The ones that are like upside down or some bullshit.
I like those too.
Piss me off. You shouldn't be drinking
It makes
those.
me feel healthy when I'm drinking.
Oh, well, that's not true. It's not
true.
healthy. But.
I know.
All right, so this is, I wish I should have done more research on these bottles before I started the podcast, but I didn't. Do you want me to read the back real quick?
If you'd like to.
Okay. Ardbeg, Traigh Bhan. I'm pretty sure it's Von, even though it's spelled Bhan. From the Singing Sands of Isla. The Singing Sands is the local name for Isla's beautiful Traigh Bhan beach. For this captivating place has soft white sands that sing beneath your feet, a hum that ebbs and flows with Isla's winds and rides. Exceptionally rare, the small batch 19-year-old Ardbeg. Oh, I don't want to. That's the tasting notes. I don't want to read that just yet. So, this is 19 years old Ardbeg. That's all I need to know about it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're aware.
Slightly younger than you.
Barely. I'm young.
I know.
Yeah. Anything. My favorite Ardbeg, the one that I drink the most, is called Wee Beastie.
Yes.
Ardbeg Wee Beastie.
I remember Moose talking about that.
Mm-hmm.
He likes that.
He does. And that's a blend of 5 to 6 year old.
Oh.
This is 19 years old. I don't care, and it has the word Ardbeg on the front.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sold. So
you're welcome.
Thank you, but also you're welcome.
Yeah, thank you
for having the event.
Yes, thank you.
So technically this is all mine.
Yes.
Well, it is all mine, but no, you're keeping this at your house. I told you you're keeping that at your house.
Yes, I'm keeping that at my house.
And I'll keep this at Dad's house.
Yeah.
So, cheers. We'll cheers once, and then we're gonna smell it, and then we're gonna go through it for a few minutes, and then we'll taste it. Go through it for a few minutes, and we'll move on.
All right.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay, Steph.
So we're all right.
Okay, yeah. Interesting.
So I'm using the technique that the people taught us at the distillery to not put your whole nose in it, or like put your nose in it a little bit.
Are you talking about the incredible Logan and Mac?
Yes.
They were great.
They were great. I couldn't remember their names. They had T-shirts with each other's faces on it. It was cute.
Yep.
But like you're supposed to inhale you're supposed to put your nose in it and then inhale in your mouth. And
keeping your mouth open while you sniff opens up. Well, you will know this. You know all this anatomical nerdy shit.
Yep.
Like opens up your nasal cavity and it kind of allows it's all particulate.
Interconnected.
Yeah. So this is quite pungent, but also quite light. Are you getting a lot of smoke and peatiness?
I'm getting some, not as much as I expected,
right?
To be honest,
it's very like I get like mint and pine a lot. Do you?
Not really, but I will tell you that when we were doing the tasting, I could tell the differences between the different types, but I just didn't know what they were. Like I wasn't good at determining the different notes.
Well,
trying to.
Well, the way that I recommend doing it, and this is what I've always done, is just the first thing that comes to your head. It doesn't. That's usually the right, and there's also no right answers as well.
Yeah, that's what he was saying too.
So I get like
I think I get the pine.
it's just like a more of like a nature, like not grass, but it's like spearmint, earthy pine tree, sap, rustic. Like this would be drank in like upper and maybe in Kodiak.
Ooh, yeah.
While hunting bear.
Yes. I never hunt bear there, but.
Yeah, well, your periods attract bears. They can smell the menstruation. Did you know that?
Yep.
Okay, just making sure.
Jesus Christ.
So I get a lot of malt on this as well. So that's like the what's made that what makes this. This is a single malt, so it's 100% malted barley, and it has a very distinct smell, especially when it's in like the fermenter and it's getting mashed up.
Yep.
It smells a lot. It smells very malty, and there is a bit of like a. There's a bit of like an undertone of a sweetness there.
Yeah, I
can't
was
really
say
decide what it is yet.
There's a little sweet.
Yeah, maybe just it's almost like a really strong vanilla extract.
Ooh.
Like if you were to take a bottle of vanilla extract and smell it directly from the bottle.
Yep.
Like you can smell the vanilla, but it's super pungent.
I had a lobster bisque with some vanilla in it once, and it was
That's
amazing.
disgusting.
It was really good.
That's the grossest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. I don't understand what the fascination is. Ever since, man, I remember going over, and I remember once Uncle Craig made me help him cook the lobster.
Yeah.
And because he knew I didn't like seafood, and I think I remember it very vividly. I don't remember how old I was, but I remember the lobster boiler pot thing was like, it was off the porch in the backyard. It was like probably 20 feet.
So we didn't set the porch on fire.
Yeah, and I remember watching him do it, and then like I had to pick one up, which was disgusting. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, I don't know why you guys eat these sea bugs. Like I don't understand why you like them so much.
Did he tell you that they scream whenever you put them in there?
Yes, he did.
Yep, that's their thing. He was like, if you listen carefully, you can hear them scream.
Yeah, and that's something like, you know what that reminds me of? Because my dad used to say, and this is probably something that he got from Craig, or maybe even vice versa, that if you, like the last little bit of milk in the thing is the cow spit.
Oh, yeah.
Did your dad used to say that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, my
dad.
dad
didn't drink it.
Yeah, my dad used to say that too. It's like you don't drink the last little bit because that's the cow spit.
Yeah, they're so weird.
Yeah, and it makes me like gag even thinking about it.
That's also something my dad might have said to Moose, so my dad could have the last of the milk. Because he used to mess with him, so he could eat all his food.
Ah, that's a good point. I'll have to ask him.
Yeah.
I'll have to ask Dad tonight. Mm-hmm. Man. That's something that I would do to Kale, too.
Yeah.
Not that thought out. I'd say something much dumber.
No. My dad used to gross out Moose all the time to eat his food.
Yeah. Well, that's what older brothers do. Yeah, so it's very, like, pine and like, pine and vanilla are the two biggest things that I get on this.
I agree.
Not a whole lot of smoke.
Which might be nice because I'm not a big fan of smokiness.
Which, that could be nice. It is a bit like salty, like sea ocean salt. But yeah, cheers.
Cheers.
Now we'll drink.
Now we'll drink.
Santa. Oh, there's the... there it is.
There's the fire.
Yeah, not even a fire. There's the...
Yeah, the smoke.
There's the burnt logs.
Yep.
Yeah, there it is. That's typical Ardbeg.
Yeah.
It's like burnt bacon and fire logs the day after.
Yes.
Tasty. Very tasty. Oh, that's good. That's good. Let's read the tasting notes.
Okay.
Exceptionally rare, the small batch 19-year-old Ardbeg displays notes of herbal pine, bracing mint chocolate. I said mint.
Ooh, you did say mint.
And citrusy lemon. I can get that.
Yeah.
Like a zestiness.
Yeah.
Yep. A rich smokiness gives way to peanut brittle and smoked currants. With waves of aniseed, hazelnut, and pepper. A satisfyingly long finish brings it with notes of vanilla, fudge, and clove. So I definitely get the pepper, but I get more smoke.
Yeah.
Like they're not hyping up the smoke enough because it is pretty smoky.
It is. It's interesting.
Do you like it? Do you love it? Or do you hate it?
I like it. I don't love it, but that's because I'm not a big smoky person. But I do I think it's a good one. It's just something I wouldn't drink.
This would be
regularly.
great in a Scotch cocktail,
Yeah.
like a Scotch whiskey sour.
Mm-hmm.
I had one in Boston, and it was an Ardbeg event, so they used Ardbeg, and it was delicious.
That's interesting.
So this is toned down enough,
Yeah.
especially with the citrusy sweetness, where it would mix well in a cocktail, but it does definitely, especially on the palate, have that the smokiness to it.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of the clarified cocktails?
No.
Where you make them and then you put them in milk and then it curds it. And then
I'm going to stop you there.
And then you strain it out there. And you strain out the curds and then
Don't ever say that in my house again. I don't know what that means, but I don't want those words uttered in my house.
It takes out the milk chunks and then but then so when it's strained, then the whole cocktail's in there and it's supposed to give a really creamy mouthfeel. It's very interesting.
You just said milk chunks, something curd chunks, and creamy mouthfeel in the same sentence, and I want to throw up.
You're welcome.
I never said thank you.
I'm going to make one for you one time, and you're not going to know it.
I will know it. I'm pretty sure I'll know. I'll see
the creamy mouthfeel.
I'll see fucking chunky milk curds or whatever the fuck you said. I don't know what it is.
All right.
I don't know you're sabotaging me like you did in the whiskey sour off.
The one I won, the award-winning.
It was the time.
Whiskey. I'm pretty sure there's a podcast.
Yeah, I only said that because it was John's memorial podcast. I actually won. No, I'm just kidding. So let's now we'll take a small break from drinking to give our palates drink some of your tap water. I got that just for you. Let's talk about this podcast that you are starting, which is really why you're here, just to plug your own shit. So
selfish.
It's called Died by Suicide.
Yes.
And I listened to a few episodes of it, and it's very good. You're not on Apple Podcasts, which is...
I thought I was. I'm still figuring it out.
I don't think so. I looked for it. You're on Spotify, though.
Yeah,
and I
I'm
followed
on
them on
Spotify.
So talk about the podcast a little bit and why you started it and what the goal of it is.
So the podcast is basically about my... journey through this new time in my life where John, my husband, died by suicide in January. And there's a couple reasons that I started it. One of the major ones is shortly after he died, I went to a support group for family members of suicide. And it was so beyond helpful just listening to people talk about their own experiences and their questions and their feelings, because you feel really guilty, you feel really dumb for not seeing, you feel all these things, and then other people are like, no, this is normal, everything's okay. And that was really helpful. I went to it's called Brian's Healing Hearts in Niantic, and they're absolutely amazing. They also have a support group for spouses, which I've been to as well, which is once again super amazing, so helpful. I've been to a couple of different things, and it's usually just parents that I'm around with. I'm usually the youngest one. Mm-hmm. So I started the podcast because there's really not a lot of support groups around. There's not a lot of, I think, resources for this situation, and especially since I have kids. We have Jack and Piper. They're 5 and 1. There's not a lot of resources for them either. Mm-hmm. So I figured if I could have a platform where I can talk about my feelings, my experiences, but also what I'm doing with the kids and what we're doing with the family and how we're kind of getting through it. Instead of being a victim, I want to be a survivor and help other people survive. And I think one of the best ways is going through a podcast because they're so popular. And it's also been very therapeutic because I can't sit in therapy all day and talk about all of my stuff. So it's been helpful, and just kind of getting all of my feelings and stuff out there. It's also very vulnerable, but...
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. I said it during Craig's show that I did and during John's show that I did. To me, podcasting is therapeutic, especially Who Gives a Dram, because I'm here alone for 90% of the time. Bourbon with Friends is a little different just because I'm most of the time on Zoom, but we usually have guests, or it's even just the fact that you're not by yourself. You almost feel like you have to be turned on a little bit.
Yeah.
Not sexually.
Obviously.
Even though sometimes I usually am turned on sexually.
So gross.
So well, I'm young and ready to rock and roll. And I can't help it. I'm not a big ocean guy.
I know. You live like
close
in ocean adjacent towns, and you're just
correct.
Not there.
No. Well, I like the beach, but the ocean is different. The ocean is terrifying. The ocean is very scary.
It is. That's why you just stay on the top.
Or just don't go in it.
I like going in the ocean.
I'll jump in for a quick dippy poo, but I don't want to like go out on the Independence and
my God,
like be with 30 foot. I remember, man, fishing with Uncle Craig, and he would go. I remember underneath the Gold Star Bridge, and he would. I forgot what boat you guys had at the time, but we were going, and it was like
the Tessa Jean. Like I think there was like 3 or 4 Tessa Jeans, and I think it was like the second one because it's a flat bottom boat. Because we had it. When
it was flat bottom.
We had that in Alaska, and when we came back from Alaska, we had that one, but we had to get a new one because the flat bottom boats don't do well in the ocean here.
Yeah, obviously, because we would go over waves going fast, and we would like Kale and I would literally just like fly 10 feet in the air, and Craig would just be like, honestly, he wouldn't even notice.
Yeah,
he'd just be like,
hold on,
he'd be going like this, just like driving,
just
and
like
then my dad,
drives.
the one time that he went, because my dad. Why would my dad go out? If there's one person I can't think of ever stepping foot in sand, it's my dad.
Yeah. My dad hates the beach too.
Well, he would at least wear shorts.
Yes, he would. No, your dad wears sweatpants. I don't think I've ever seen your dad in shorts, to be honest. I think the closest it came to seeing your dad in shorts is when he had that gross septic leg from the spider bite, and I saw him in the hospital.
Yeah.
I think he might have had a Johnny on, but he definitely, it's like one of the first times I've seen his legs.
Yeah. Well, credit to him, since he's been losing a lot of weight, that septic leg is no longer, like, it's barely swollen.
Oh,
it used to be, he used to have to put a stocking on it every day, and I'm assuming just to keep the swelling down. But now, since he's lost a lot of weight, it's not swollen, and he's buying pants online and they're fitting him.
Ooh.
It's weird. He bought a suit coat off Amazon and it fit him off the rack. Wow. Very weird.
Good for him.
It's great for him.
I know.
But it's weird to see him wear light colored jeans. He showed me a picture the other day. He's like, hey, I kind of want to dress like this. And it was like an Italian model with brown. He's like, I like the brown and black look. But this guy was like 6'4", had a scarf on, had a weird hat, had a brown cardigan and black like pants that like showed a little of his ankle. And he was wearing like moccasins with no socks. I was like, Dad, if you ever wore that, you're not my dad.
I don't think I could ever picture your dad in any of that, including a scarf.
He wears scarves. But it's
like for cold weather reasons, not for fashionable reasons.
Correct. You know what I think should come back in fashion?
What?
And I remember my Nana got me a pair of these when I was a kid, but not like what's that called?
Headscarf?
Not a headscarf. It's like, what do you put? Earmuffs.
Earmuffs, yeah.
But they're just like they're not held together.
Yeah.
That you just put them over your ears.
You just like kind of screw them on your ears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are pretty sick.
They're nice. I'm sure you can find some.
Probably on Amazon.
Probably. You can bring them back.
You think so?
Try it. I think so.
Let's go back to your podcast, though.
Yeah. So back to the podcast.
Yeah.
So, so I think I put one more episode up today.
Oh, you did?
I did.
Good.
So the first 3 episodes are like a chronological timeline, and after that is just different things that I'm kind of feeling or growing through. I have kind of a Jack episode about things, and so about how he's been going through it. And I don't have a Piper episode because she's one, and right now all she says hi, bye, and no. So
the one thing that the one positive that I see out of everything that happened with both Craig and John is with Jack, the fact that he's still so young.
Yeah.
Like, he'll remember his dad, but I think he's so young, he'll only remember the good things.
Yeah.
And not that John, there was many bad things that he would allow Jack to see. I'm sure
Yeah.
you guys had your shit as everybody does, but
Mhm.
I would imagine that was never visible to the kids,
Yeah.
if anything. But that's like, that's kind of like, especially in like the first weeks after not only September, but also like January into February. That's what would keep me up.
Yeah.
Is thinking about Jack and like how I would be in that scenario.
Yeah,
And
no, he still has a lot of good memories about John, and we talk about him, and we have pictures at the house, and
Yeah.
he has them in his room, and we still talk about it. I want him to be able to talk about it, feel comfortable talking about it, but he misses him. They were best buds.
Yeah.
Jack used to call John my best bud, and I had this in the podcast, and he would like come up to me. He's like, "Hey Thanos, how's your day?"
Thanos?
Yeah, he would call me Thanos.
Why?
Because he's a dick.
Oh, so because you're a huge bitch?
Yeah. I don't know. Because apparently I just destroy all of his life. No. Because we were watching the Avengers during COVID, because he like got quarantined like 7 times.
He watched Avengers?
Yeah.
The live action?
Yeah.
And didn't get scared?
No. He watched.
He was like 3 or 2.
He was 3.
This was 2000. No, Avengers. Well, okay. I guess it
not
wasn't
like
when
right
it came
when
out.
it came out, but I mean, he watched Godzilla and King Kong with Dean, and he loved it.
My man. But there was I asked him. I said one of the last times I was at your house, I suggested putting on a movie, and you said no. I don't remember what movie it was, but I was like, let's watch. I think it was like, I don't know, something. It was like Halloween. It was like the new Halloween where he knocks all the teeth out of the, like, very graphic. I was like, Jack's gotta watch this at some point.
He likes watching the Avengers. He's like, Mommy, or when he asked John, he was like, Mommy, can we watch the Avengers where Black Widow's tied up?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Nice.
He's a hoe.
He is a hoe.
He is a hoe. That's how he describes the Avengers he wants to watch.
He wants to see Scarlett Johansson tied up.
Yep.
Same.
So.
Same.
Yep.
With the podcast, is it like you find it therapeutic?
Yes.
Is it tough? Is it hard?
It can be tough. I find it's similar to like when I go to therapy. I find that it's something where I definitely need to do because I get like a lot of built up like feelings or anxiety or something like that. But it's like hard to work through it and hard to think through it. And sometimes like I usually record every episode like 2 or 3 times probably, because I'll like record something and I'll hate it, and then I'll re-record the whole thing, and usually it's fine. Or sometimes I'll miss something because I get like ADD, or I don't know. I just am like thinking about a whole bunch of different stuff, and I trail off and forget what I'm actually coming back to, and I don't want it to sound disorganized. So sometimes I'll be like, okay, these are my thoughts, because I try not to write it down. I try to be pretty authentic with, like my thoughts and my feelings, but it also can be a little crazy sometimes, but I try to bring it back.
The worst thing you can do, I think, is write it down. Yeah. I think maybe for a handful of episodes, if I have time, I would have like written down bullet points of what I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
Like I want to talk about this movie and this piece of news in the whiskey world and this piece of news in the MMA world and this whatever it is. Mm-hmm. But the best episodes always happen when it's just from the heart.
Mm-hmm. I think like one of the hardest ones was like the 3rd one, and it wasn't hard because of the content. It was hard because I couldn't remember a lot of stuff, because it's like after he died, like everything from the funeral, I think, until his unit deployed is all like, it feels like 2 days, but it was like 3 weeks.
Was it that long?
Yeah. Maybe it was
Really?
2 weeks, yeah.
I feel like John Bahunia went away sooner than that.
I think
3 weeks.
He left earlier.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, I think he left a little bit early, but yeah, it was. There's a lot of stuff that like I don't remember, or a lot of like my timeline is kind of like weird because I just don't remember it. But that's apparently normal.
I wish I was like that. I like I think about so my dad doesn't call me a lot, just out of the blue, especially at night. He's not going to call me.
Same here.
And I remember, you know Nick Bossy. I may have even told you this. September 2nd, I was at Nick's house. Me and Kale, and I don't even remember. I think it was for his daughter's birthday or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there with Nick and with a few other people that I don't like know particularly well. I know them, but like, and I get a call. And I was like, that's weird. And then that was obviously it's the night that Craig died.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I had no idea. I had no idea what to even like think. And my first reaction was, oh, I got to go up there. And my dad was like, I don't want you to be up here. Just be at home. And I was like, all right, I'll meet you guys at home. And I actually, that night, Kale was crying a lot. And I'd be like, dude, like, come on. You're crying in my shoulder. Like, man up. As I'm like, but no, I didn't actually do that. But I think we both went here and then we walked westerly. Yeah. And then I came back here and I grabbed Stag because it's like 130 proof. Nice. And we had a glass of it on the roof.
Oh, nice.
And we were talking about something with Craig, and then went back home, and Mom and Dad came home, and then it was a tough few days. It's still it's still very tough. I think about your dad every single day, and a few months go by. I record a podcast here, and I'm sitting on the futon that I'm looking at right now in my living room. There's a lady friend coming over, and I'm like, all right, we'll just get some Domino's or we'll get some pizza or something, and knowing me, probably do the horizontal hokey pokey or something. To be completely honest, I hope she's not listening to this. I don't even remember who it was. And I get another call from my dad, and I'm like, I was like, please God, no. And I answer, and it was John, and I was just like, my first reaction, other than complete surprise, was unbelievable anger. Yeah. I almost, like, I felt like I broke my hand. I punched my futon like 100 times, and my hand was swollen for a little bit. The reason I bring this all up is because I feel like a lot of people, when it comes to suicide, aren't comfortable with the fact that they're angry. Yeah. And something that the one question that I thought of, because you had mentioned you try not to write stuff down, or sometimes you write whatever. The one question I wanted to ask you is it normal? Do you think it's normal in that scenario to be angry?
Yes. I think so. I've been after, so basically when I saw him at the funeral home, this is before anybody saw him. Yeah. We just kind of I had a conversation with him. And that was kind of my goodbye to him. That was like mine. The rest of it was like, I felt for everybody else to say goodbye, but I had my goodbye. And pretty much after that point, I was mad. Yeah. Like my constant state is like angry, because I just feel like in our family, between me, with Dean, you guys, like I feel like if I was struggling, or if one of us were struggling, we'd talk to somebody. We'd be like, hey, I'm having a rough time, And even Dean and Allie were talking with my mom one night because they were worried about him drinking a lot. And it was just kind of like, I felt like I've always given him a lot of space, because I know he's had, trauma, he's had problems, he's struggled. I always felt like I gave him space to talk to me about it, but he didn't. And that's what just, and it's like,
there's nothing you can do at that point.
There's nothing I can do. And that's what, like, a lot of support groups is like, you feel guilty because you don't see it, but you're also angry. Yeah. It's when I talk to John Bahuniak, like, it's half the time, like, if I always tell him if I ever saw him again, I'd give him a big hug and then punch him right in the face.
Yeah. As would I.
Yeah.
And that's like, I can't imagine being at that low point where it's like, maybe like I can see maybe wanting to like the physical act of ending your life, making it easier on you because you're dead. But I think about like my mom and my dad. I think about John's mom and dad. Like I think about the people that you're leaving behind, which is what it's all about. Like it's at that point, it's not about you, it's about the other people. And the one, I've said this in my podcast as well, the one thing I wish he did was just reach out to somebody.
Yeah.
Even if he just randomly called me one day, or Kale would have, or Dad, or any, I know he's close with Dad for, when Craig died, and
and what's crazy about that too is like he really cared about other people. Like if any one of his friends were struggling, he would make sure that he saw them. He made sure that he cared about other people. He cared about their mental health. He was worried about it, but he's like, he just didn't act on his own.
Yeah. And it's different when it comes to yourself.
Yeah.
Because you want to be there for other people. Everybody does it. It's like, oh, I'll put my feelings on the back burner and I'll be there for my family or my friends. And that's normal. But, I always felt guilty about being angry. And I had to come to grips. So it's like, it's not bad to be angry. And it's not bad to have all these mixed emotions of like just being mad. Yeah.
It's like it's emotions on like it's like a lot of times I felt bad for feeling mad, and then I felt bad I just felt bad all the time, and then every emotion I felt bad for feeling it, or I felt bad for not feeling it. And it's just, but I think the hardest part is like it's so hard to empathize with somebody in that situation.
Yeah.
Because I've never, like, I lost Dad and I lost John, in 4 months of each other, and I have never thought of trying to kill myself.
Yeah.
And I can't fathom, and that's what I try to remind myself of a lot of times after I'm like cursing him to hell. I'm like, fuck you, man.
Yeah.
But I've never been in that headspace, and I don't know how to get I don't know how to empathize with that. And that's just the best I can do.
It's tough. I don't think you can empathize with it. You might be able to sympathize with it and feel like, oh, I've been kind of felt shitty before, and we've all felt like that. But I don't know. I think that doing a podcast, doing Dead by Suicide is good, because going to therapy and going to support groups is great, but there's nothing like venting your own thoughts by yourself.
Yeah.
That's it. There's nothing helps more, I think, personally. Nothing helped me more than doing my podcast for Craig, because I did that fairly soon after. I did John's a few weeks before, so I had already talked to you guys, and Craig's was a few days, and I hope you feel that. I hope you get that same satisfaction.
I do. I absolutely do.
Because it's important to be able to express your thoughts outwardly and get it all out in whatever medium it is. And who knows, maybe I don't know if suicide is a category on Apple Podcasts, but maybe you'll be the number one. Yeah.
Well, I also want to, use it. And then I was thinking, I've been working on trying to start like a foundation in his honor to help with EMS, first responders, and military people, for educational purposes, but just like in any way that I haven't, clearly I don't have like a written mission statement yet, but that's kind of my goal. Yeah.
You'll have one.
So
I feel like you have a entrepreneur mind.
That's my goal.
Not like me, but
yeah,
kind of close. You're getting there.
You can be one of my board members if you want. I have to have board members. I know that much.
You have board members already?
I have to have them.
Oh, to have a foundation?
Yep.
So what would my title be? Chairman of the board?
No.
Vince McMahon. I want my designation to be Vince McMahon.
All right, you can be Vince McMahon.
Okay, That's take it.
Fine.
I'll take it. What do you want this foundation to accomplish?
Just support for people that support everybody else.
Okay.
In
any specific ways that have you thought about, or
so I always think of education mainly because I was the paramedic. I was a director of the paramedic program for a while, and there wasn't a lot of scholarships out there for paramedics. And going through that course or trying to get any sort of classes and stuff like that, they're not always covered by the companies you work for. Like if I want to go be a flight medic, it's a $500 course and then a $450 test,
Gross.
Yeah. So it's stuff like, like covering costs here and there for educational purposes, because I think always furthering your education is super important.
Mm-hmm.
And then, anything else that can help with mental health. Like if somebody needs to take a break for a week, okay, maybe we can support them that way financially.
It's very noble of you, because not many people think about it even that term, like of just needing a week or needing a few days. And here we're here to help you with that. Because
I've had calls where it's like the next day I called out and I just stayed the entire day on the couch because it was just, it messed me up. And people don't always have that luxury,
Correct. I've done that, but it was because of having 17 too many glasses of whiskey.
Yes.
A few times. So I've been sniffing on this Lagavulin as you've been talking, and Lagavulin is sneakily becoming my favorite Islay Scotch.
Ooh.
This smells amazing.
Yes.
It's more fruit. It's even more fruit than the Ardbeg. It's brighter.
It's like sweeter than the...
It's definitely sweeter.
Yeah.
Like... It almost has like a... I get kind of the same thing. It's a little bit higher proof, but I almost get like that... Is there such a thing as sweet pepper?
Yes, I believe so.
So there's like a kick of pepper.
Yeah.
But it's also sweet at the same time.
I'm still like, I almost feel like it's like less smoky.
100% it's less smoky.
Okay.
I agree. Let's see if this is finished in anything. A distillery exclusive bottling from American oak, finished in brandy, seasoned hogsheads, which is a type of barrel, personally selected by the distillery manager Jordan Paisley, who signed the bottle graciously.
Yes.
And again, if you want to go listen to him talk about this and us drink this, head over to Bourbon with Friends and just look for the Lagavulin episode. But that makes sense. Brandy, a bit of like a... There's the fruit aspect there. Brandy's dark fruit, but...
Yeah, it's more of like a liqueur.
Interesting. Liqueur, really?
Yeah. Pretty sure. I could be wrong. I've been wrong most of the days.
There's no wrong answers. I'm trying to really put my nose on like what exactly I'm smelling. I get like almost like a field, like a hay.
I can see that. I can see wildflowers.
Wildflowers.
Yep.
What's a wildflower? Have you ever gone into the wild and picked a flower and smelled it?
I used to live in Alaska. Yep.
Do they? I thought there was ice and...
No. In parts of it where I lived, it wasn't. I lived on Kodiak Island.
So there were wildflowers, and you would go like wear a sundress and like frolic through the fields, like Little House on the Prairie?
Probably, yeah. I like wearing dresses. But there was also like wild horses and wild bears and...
Wild bears as opposed to what?
Tamed bears.
What are you, Circus
Circus bears.
Circus. So there's are they equal in population? You think, where you have to differentiate between circus bears and wild bears?
No, there is actually more bears per capita on Kodiak Island than there is people.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Kodiak bears.
Kodiak bears.
And people, I think I saw something on TikTok recently where like Kodiak bears are the meanest.
I think they're the biggest, like the biggest grizzly bears.
Oh, they're the biggest, not the meanest. Yeah, they were. I knew they were something.
I've always, from my survival school understanding, is that if you see a black bear, you don't want to ever mess with it because they will try to mess you up. Like you just run away from them. If it's a grizzly bear, you play dead, and you have to tuck your head in because they'll try to stomp on your head. But as long as you kind of like protect yourself and play dead, they'll generally leave you alone. Or if they try to eat you, then you have to like hit them in the face. But
yeah, I feel like they would probably try to eat you.
Well, that's what my survival training in kindergarten
And bears
was.
suck because they'll just like take a bite out of your ass or something.
That happened
and
once.
Then leave you and then come back.
Me, but
it didn't happen to you?
No, it didn't happen to me. Yeah. Good. No, there was a photographer that wanted a bear in like a roaring or like fighting stance, and so he literally poked at the bear, and then the bear took a chunk out of his ass.
Yeah, and probably just like left him there, and then came back a few minutes later when he got bored or finished eating the meat and bone, and fucking just ate him
He
up
survived.
for lunch. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Just half an ass now.
Yeah, just half an ass.
I wonder how he shits.
Half-assed.
That was a good joke.
Thank you.
I set you up for that one.
You did beautifully.
I get some like pear pineapple type of vibe on this too, almost like tropicalness ish. I wanted to say coconut, but then I smelled it again. I was like, I don't think coconut.
I could definitely see like a pear.
Shout out to pears. It smells like almost like a grilled sugary pear.
Ooh,
you know,
they're good. Yeah, you ever go to the peaches on the grill with some sugar and vanilla ice cream? It's pretty tits.
No, but I had Jake Bullock's wife Mina made like a peach like cake in some vicinity with ice cream in it. I think she made it a few months ago when we all got together at the Bulldogs, and I don't like peaches because like I don't eat fruit because I'm not a
normal human.
Yeah, well, it's like I don't eat vegetables because I'm not a rabbit. I don't eat fruit because I'm not a koala or whatever. Whoever eats
Koalas
fruits.
eat eucalyptus.
Oh.
And that's why they sleep. I think or maybe that's sloth.
Well,
I don't know.
Koalas also have gonorrhea.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
I did.
You did?
Yes.
It's a weird thing for you to know.
I like fun facts. I don't always get them right, but.
Are you the human Snapple?
I am.
Okay. All right, let's drink. Cheers.
Cheers.
Lagavulin 14.
Lagavulin. I said it right.
Yes. Bottled exclusively for the Isla Jazz Festival 2022. Signed by Jordan Paisley. This bottle is legitness. As they say in Scotland. That I learned from Graham McTavish. Shlantava.
Oh, Shlantava. That's definitely less of a smoke, I feel like.
I disagree. That is all like saltwater taffy / like what I get on all Lagavulins is like the day, like if you had a bonfire on the beach the day after. Is what it tastes like.
I could see that.
But this also has like a sweet like saltwater taffy to it. And this is
I think I like this one more.
55.4%. This is like 110 proof.
Yeah.
That's a heavy hitter.
It is.
Do you remember which one you had to bid more on? If I had to guess, I would say the Ardbeg for name value.
I think so. Yeah, because I think I was surprised that the Lagavulin came in like such a nice box, but it was like
a little cheaper. Yeah. I love Ardbeg. Ardbeg's my jam.
Mm-hmm.
I had a large freak out when I saw Ardbeg in person because I love Ardbeg. And also Ardbeg,
you fangirled a little bit?
A little bit because to kind of bring it back to, the whole morbid thing, which is half the reason you're here.
Yeah.
Thanks. Ardbeg meant a lot to me, especially because Craig passed on September 2nd. I went to Scotland about 6 weeks later.
Yeah.
And that night, the night that Craig died, me and Dad had a little bit of Ardbeg.
Yeah.
Even though he didn't want to. Maybe he did. I'm pretty sure he did.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he did. I know I did. I had a lot that night.
Yeah.
But I liked Ardbeg before. Me and my dad and Kale, even though Kale doesn't drink Scotch, he'll sometimes have a little sippy poo with us. But me and my dad will drink Ardbeg together, a few times a year in the winter time. So it meant a lot to me then, and then that moment made it mean more.
Yeah.
So seeing it in person and just having all those memories come back was like, man, this is awesome. But I think on taste, I might like Lagavulin a little bit more in general.
I like the Lagavulin better.
Oh, smell it now. A little bit sweeter.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Kentucky Hug?
Is it Kentucky Hug if it's Not from Kentucky.
No. Did you see the thing I posted on my Instagram story the other day of the guy, like, every bourbon taster, and he's like, Kentucky Hood, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I saw that.
Made me laugh.
I posted something like that on mine where it was like wine tasting. Did you see that?
No.
And the guy's like, no wrong answers, no wrong answers. And she's like, oh, I think I get some peaches. He's like, no, there's no peaches.
That's like if you were to smell this and be like, I think I get some hot Cheetos. I'd be like, all right, I think you might be having a stroke, actually. If you smelled this and be like, oh, does this smell like burnt toast? I'd be like, all right, time to go to the hospital.
Yep.
Something's happening.
Got a droopy face.
Yeah.
No, but I definitely like this one better.
As do I.
Mm-hmm.
This is delicious.
Yep. I'm glad it's
so
with me.
I would rate this. I'd probably rate this in the high 8s.
Mm-hmm.
This in the low 9s.
Okay.
I like this. No, they're both in the low 9s.
Mm-hmm.
This is probably like a 9.1. This is probably like a 9.2. I like this one a hair better. I think the high proof point on this, which I'm assuming this is barrel strength, which means they just took it right out of the barrel and didn't dilute it with water. This plays well off the higher proof.
Yeah.
A lot of the times people try to proof up whiskey because that's what's popular.
Yeah.
It's a high proof whiskey, but it doesn't do the whiskey any favors. Like a lot of times Scotch isn't higher proof because it impacts the flavor.
Yeah.
You're just going to get a Band-Aid if you put it high proof, depending on what it is. But proofing it down, adding water to it, cutting it with water allows the whiskey to open up and breathe, and you get these delicious Ardbegs that are...
No, I think my dad would like the Ardbeg better. I think he would.
You think so?
Yeah. He was into
I know my dad would like the Ardbeg better.
Yeah.
Because it has a bit more of that, like, salted, burnt meat thing to it. Just a tad. This is a bit more, like, tropicalness.
Yeah.
This is a bit more, like, maritime. This is a bit more, like, cookout.
Mm-hmm. No, he liked Scotch a lot, and he liked more oaky, like woody,
Keep
smoky
talking.
flavors.
I just had an idea.
Oh God. But because he liked Chianti a lot, and I never liked Chianti, which is a red wine.
Chianti?
Yes, it's a red wine, and it has like a smoky oakiness to it, and I didn't ever like it.
A smoky oakiness?
Yeah, smoky oaky. That's what.
I'm making you suffer through this with me because I had to do it myself.
That's it. But he liked that kind of stuff. Actually, one Christmas, my mom got him a really nice bottle of Scotch, and I can't remember what it is. And John actually accidentally got him drunk off of it, because John Harrington has very heavy pours. Are you making me drink the whiskey I bought you?
Sure am.
Oh no.
This. I think like 300 people watch me on YouTube. Absolutely hate these whiskeys. I had a lot of people reach out to me. So we're going to do this one first, and then we'll wash it down with... So, okay, for what I decided to do, we're going to get these nice, expensive whiskeys out of the way, and we're going to get this bullshit that John and Tessa got me. So I took this. These have both been on the podcast.
Originally we got this one because I really wanted a whiskey mule. I love like JMO mules. They didn't have it there, and so this is like the best we can come up with, and it's garbage apparently.
Well, you had it with me.
Oh yeah,
we had shots of this that night.
Yeah. My grandma drank a lot of that.
She did. Well, your grandma's a badass.
Yeah.
She can.
She can.
She can drink.
She can.
Yeah. But this is what we're gonna start off with. This
the maple syrup.
If you guys go back and watch what did I name the episode? I think what did I name the John episode? Kin is Kin. It's just called Kin is Kin. And
Tessa won the whiskey sour off. I think that's what you called it.
No, I said that's the one thing when I said my goodbyes to John in the casket. I said, nice knowing you, for better or for worse. Also, I'll admit right now, literally on your deathbed, that you won this whiskey sour off.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
And then I feel like I'll go to hell if I take that back. So
yeah, probably.
Yeah, I'm already going to hell. So we're going to drink this disgusting French. It's Liqueur de Whiskey Canadien, and it's finished with like maple syrup.
Yeah.
It is the bewitching blend of two Canadian specialties. The complexity of our whiskey, Canadian whiskey, is not complex, and the sweetness of our maple syrup. Have fun. I'll take a little bit. Yeah, I'll take a little bit. Yeah.
So I saw the bottle and I liked it, and that's why I got it. That's as far as the research I went into.
You have to finish this.
I have to finish it. Don't give me a big one. Oh, that's so big.
That's what she said.
Oh my God. You don't even have to get close to it, and it's just pure sugar.
Oh, God.
Awful.
This is bringing back, like, kind of good memories because I liked doing that. No.
I can't.
We're going to do it. It's together.
Ugh.
This brings back, like, kind of good memories because that was a good episode, or, like, I was able to get a lot off my chest, but also this part of the episode sucked. Yeah. So I have a little bit. I poured you about twice as much.
Yep.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Enjoy. Oh, God.
That's straight syrup.
Ugh.
That would be good over shaved ice.
No, it wouldn't. What the fuck are you talking about? This is disgusting.
It is. It's like it's straight up syrup. It's
and I want you to confirm that you bought this for me.
I bought that for you.
You know how offensive that is?
I was on a vacation and I thought of you, and
which
I was
is very nice. I appreciate that.
And it was like the nicest bottle of whiskey they had. When I say whiskey, it's Canadian whiskey.
This is liqueur, but it's not even whiskey. So, but I appreciate the thought. Don't get me wrong. However, I don't know if I'll ever drink this again.
I don't think you should.
I might drink it like once a year.
Yeah.
Like in memory of John, I'll pull out.
I feel like he would be mad that that's his memory whiskey. To be honest, he'd be like, "You fucker."
Well, it's his fault.
Yep.
It's both your guys' faults. Should have bought me something cool, like even if you
Next
bought me
time,
Crown Royale, I would have been like, all right, that's at least.
Well, I feel like Crown Royale you can get here. I wanted to find something.
Okay, yeah, I get that.
Next time, we'll just buy you a fucking hat.
No, not a hat. If you're gonna buy me anything, buy me T-shirts.
All right, I'll get you a T-shirt.
Yeah. Next time you go to Canada.
Next time I go to Canada.
I don't think I can legally go to Canada because of my DUI.
Really?
Yeah. I don't think I can legally go. I think they consider me a very much a danger to the public.
That's insane.
Well,
like even when it
they're true.
Does it come off your record?
Oh yeah, it's off my record.
Oh.
But they're also right because I am a danger. I'm a menace to society.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, watch out. My hands are registered as lethal weapons, so if I kill somebody by accident, I can go to jail.
Okay.
Think about that.
I feel that though I've made up for this syrup whiskey with the other ones that I got.
Well, like I said, technically I got them. I'm the one who actually went over to Scotland and picked them up. Did you?
No, I financed them.
I mean, I financed going over to Scotland and picking them up.
I'm the reason that they're here. Well, one of them. You brought the other one.
True.
My bag weighed 15 pounds more when I came home.
So you had to pay an overage fee?
No, I didn't.
Oh, because you talked them out of it, right?
Because I upgraded to first class, and I think they were just like, okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
How much did you pay for the upgrade?
$50.
Oh. Do you have a lot of miles?
No, I don't have miles. I have to
Oh,
get
because you're military / first responder, right?
Yep. So, but they were like, "Oh, do you want to upgrade for $50?" And the luggage fee would have been $30 anyway. So it's like, yes.
Yeah, first class from Louisville to.
I think it was Charlotte.
And then from Charlotte to Providence, were you? Or
no, to Hartford. Yeah.
Were you first class?
Yeah. No. They didn't have first class.
What airline were you flying?
Jesus, I think Delta.
Finish that. Delta.
And then American.
Nice.
I'm not sure.
That's where both of my cards, my credit cards, are both my American card. I have 80,000 miles on Delta right now.
Nice. We were trying to find like the first class lounge in Louisville, and they do not have one. Which was disappointing. Yeah. That's
surprising. Because Louisville is a much larger airport than Lexington. Lexington is this big.
We couldn't find one. We Googled it and everything. Because we were walking around Louisville for a little bit.
Why would you do that?
Because we had to drop Rachel off early, and then we were going to try to find something to eat, and it wasn't great. Where we found something to eat, and the waiter kept calling me. He kept calling us girls, and I hate that.
Say, what can I get you girls? Something like that. Why?
Because I'm a woman or a lady or something like.
Wait. What if he said, "Well, all right, bitches. What the fuck do you want?"
I've been okay with that.
Okay.
But I don't like girls because I'm 33 and I'm not a little girl. Like, I just don't like being called a girl.
Yeah.
Unless it's like, girl, please. But no one really ever does that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I don't. There's not something that I don't enjoy being. I don't not enjoy being called. Oh, people would call me Connie.
Yep, I heard that a lot.
Yeah, and I don't hate it, but it's like.
Do you remember when Liz used to call you C Beebs?
Yeah, I do. Now that you bring it up. Well, I also deserved it. I had long hair.
You did. You had straight up Justin Bieber hair.
I was a cute kid. That was like 6th grade. 7th grade, I had 3 girlfriends at once. Yeah. So I don't want to hear any hate.
I'm just saying.
It worked.
Part of your nickname. Of course it did.
And in 8th grade, the same thing in 8th grade too. I had the Justin Bieber hair, and not only did I have 3 girlfriends, but I also was the captain of my undefeated middle school basketball team. Yeah. I don't know if you knew that.
I did.
I know you did.
I did not.
No, you definitely knew because I tell it to everybody because it's important. I put it on my resume.
Good, you should.
Yeah. So the Justin Bieber hair worked, but I do remember Liz calling me C Beebs.
C Beebs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I do remember that.
Shout out Liz. I like Liz.
Yeah. I hate Liz.
I love Liz.
So we're gonna drink this Saint Leger or whatever. This is blended Scotch that you paid $42.25 Canadian for, which is probably like
it's a crisp high
five. This is 40%. I did this already. This is not as bad as this maple syrup bullshit, but this is essentially a handle. You know, probably a little bit smaller than a handle. For $42 Canadian, which is if I had to guess, it's probably about $4 or $5 American.
Close.
Is it actually close?
No,
Do you know?
Not at all.
Oh.
It's probably like I don't know, maybe like 38, 35.
The nice thing about going over to Scotland was that a pound, or a quid, is basically $1. Oh. Like if a glass of whiskey was £5, basically $5. When
my dad went to Scotland, he said that everybody looked like him, including the women. Would you agree?
No, for reasons I'll tell you off camera.
Okay.
No, it's not.
Get it, Connor.
All right, oh man, this smells disgusting.
Thank you.
Cheers.
You for this. Oh yeah, this is. I remember it. It's still terrible.
Tastes like a cheap. Can you tell the difference between this and like that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, like this is masterclass. This is
what homeless people get drunk off of
in Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you're homeless in Canada, that's bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'd probably if Russia is probably the number 1 place I wouldn't want to be homeless. Canada's probably number 2.
Yeah.
Or maybe Greenland's the one with ice, right? Because Iceland's the one with forests.
Yes.
So maybe Greenland I wouldn't want to be homeless in.
I don't know.
You think Greenland has any homeless people?
I'm sure every place has homeless people, but they might have like better shelters or like more coat drives.
When was the last time you went to Washington, D.C.?
Not a lot. I think. I mean, I've driven through there, but I haven't like been there since I lived there.
You lived in D.C.?
We lived in Woodbridge, which is like 20 minutes outside of D.C.
Who's we?
My family.
You really?
Yeah.
When?
When because we lived in Alaska when I was kindergarten through 2nd grade. 3rd and 4th grade, I lived in Virginia. 5th and 6th grade, we lived back in Alaska. And then after 6th grade is when we came to Connecticut.
Yeah, I was young.
Yes.
If you were in 6th grade.
I remember Gracie was still, I think, like 2, maybe. And she used to call your dad Moose all the time.
When she was 2?
Yeah. She wouldn't call him Dad. She'd call him Moose.
So that means I was 6. If she was 2, I was 6.
Like
and you were, what, in 12th grade?
You're such a dick. I was going into 7th grade. So I'm 7 years older than you.
Yikes. Yeah, well, we're an hour 15 in. What else you want to talk about? I'm good. If you're good.
I'm good. This has been quite the experience.
Tell the people once again where they can, what you want them to know, whether it's your socials or your podcast. Just tell.
So
You can look right in the camera and tell them.
My podcast social is at. I have an Instagram. There's like 2 pictures up, but it's at DBS_podcast, and then.
I didn't even know that.
Yep. It's on my Instagram. No one pays attention to my life. It's fine. And then the podcast is definitely on Spotify. I have to figure out if it's everywhere else.
Where do you host the podcast through?
Anchor.
So it should. Okay, I'll have to take a look at it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I'm not great at it. I'm not great at podcasting. But it's Died by Suicide podcast.
So Died by Suicide podcast. Go check it out. She does an episode recapping the Bourbon Ball.
I do. It's called Girls Trip.
And you didn't shout me out enough in that episode. I just want to make that clear. You didn't give me enough credit, but you gave me a little bit of credit, and that's all that I did appreciate that. Thank you for coming all the way over here to my studio.
Your neck of the woods.
Yeah, I appreciate you. We're gonna go out and I'm gonna eat dinner here in my apartment because mom.
Do you want
budget.
me to buy you dinner?
No, because I have to eat tonight, or else I don't like to eat leftovers over 2 days.
Okay. Oh my God.
So I got to eat my leftovers, and then we're going to go get a drink downtown, and I'll text Grace. Grace is home, so maybe she can come out, and Aiden. And we...
Graydon. Do you call them Graydon?
Sure don't. Maybe I will.
Yeah.
Probably not, though.
No.
Yeah. Make sure you're following along on the podcast on Instagram, which is now Connor_whiskey. Facebook is still Who Gives a Dram. Twitter and TikTok is also Connor_whiskey. Make sure if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, you leave a review and leave a 5-star rating. That helps us out a lot. That's the best way to grow. So make sure you recommend that after every one of your podcasts as well.
Yes, I don't, but I'll start. You
should. And thank you guys for listening. This was one of the longer episodes that we've done, but it's awesome because Cousin Tessa's here. And, you know, it's important to talk about some difficult shit sometimes. And even though we've had several off-camera conversations about this stuff, it's you know, I appreciate it being on my podcast.
You're a great inspiration.
Thank you. I am. Until next time, you guys, always remember, whiskey's the water of life. So let's start living.
Cheers.
Look at the camera.
I'm looking.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.